feeling when your paycheck hits your account? It seems so simple, doesn't it? The money just appears. But behind that one simple transaction is this incredibly complex, high-stakes journey, a real gauntlet that's been designed with one critical mission: to protect every single dollar. So today we're going to pull back the curtain and follow your money through that very gauntlet.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow your paycheck through 6 key stages, all the way from the moment you're hired to that final report that proves everything is exactly as it should be. And along the way, we're going to meet some pretty important characters: the gatekeepers, the guardians, and even the detectives.
All right, first up, the high-stakes payroll gauntlet. I mean, why all this drama? Why does it have to be so complicated? Well, it's a story of checks and balances, a system that was built from the ground up to answer one really important question.
And that question is this: what's to stop someone from just inventing a fake person, a ghost employee, adding them to the payroll, and pocketing their salary every 2 weeks? And let me tell you, this isn't just some hypothetical. Payroll fraud is a huge risk for any company. So what's the defense? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental rule of security. You never, ever give one person all the keys to the kingdom. And that brings us to the hero of our story, a concept called segregation of duties, or SOD for short. It's a fancy term, but the idea is actually dead simple. You never let one person control a critical process from start to finish. Instead, you break up the key jobs and give them to different people.
The best way to think about it is like a relay race with 4 key runners on the team. You've got the authorizer, who's like the gatekeeper that says, go. Then there's the recorder, kind of like the official scorer, who tracks everything. Next up is the custodian, the guardian who holds the actual prize money. And finally, the reconciler, our detective, who makes sure the final results match what really happened. And the most important rule? No runner can do another runner's job.
So, let's start the race. First leg: simply getting an employee into the system. This is where we meet our gatekeepers, and their job is to figure out who's allowed on the payroll and for how much.
So, it all starts when a manager wants to hire you. But they can't just, type your name into the payroll list themselves. No way. That request has to go to Human Resources and Finance for formal approval. They're the gatekeepers. They check it against the budget, against company policy, and only after they give the official thumbs up can anyone actually enter your data into the system.
And boom, right there, you see the principle in action. HR is a totally separate department from payroll. Because they control who gets added and for how much, the idea of creating a ghost employee suddenly becomes incredibly difficult. The very first gate is locked down, secure. Okay, so you're officially in the system. Now we head into the engine room. This is where the magic happens, where your hard work and your time get turned into actual dollars and cents.
So you record your hours, but, and this is a big but, that data doesn't go anywhere until your direct supervisor approves it. Only then does it go to a payroll clerk, that's our recorder, who gives it a quick review before the system does its thing, crunching all the numbers to figure out your final pay.
And you see that clean line they've drawn in the sand? The person who actually manages you and approves your time is not the same person who calculates your check. This is all by design. It stops someone from, say, approving their own crazy overtime hours. It's just another one of those beautiful, critical checks and balances.
Okay, deep breaths, everyone. We are now at the most nail-biting part of the whole journey. All the math is done, the numbers are checked, but not a single dollar has actually moved yet. This is where the guardians of the cash step in.
So after a final review and sign-off, the entire payment file gets handed off to a completely different department, Treasury. These folks are the custodian, the literal guardians of the company's cash. They're the ones who prepare the transfer, and they are the only ones with the power to actually release the funds.
And this right here, this is the firewall. It's a massive, impenetrable wall between calculating the money and actually spending the money. I mean, think about it. The recorders back in payroll could cook up a payment for $1 million, but they have zero power to send it. And the custodians in Treasury can send money, but they had nothing to do with calculating the amounts. This separation is without a doubt the single most important control in this entire process.
Phew! The money's in your account. You can breathe a sigh of relief. But hold on, we're not quite done yet. The gauntlet isn't over. We have to close the loop and make sure the official record of everything that just happened is absolutely perfect. It's time to bring in the detective.
So an accountant officially records the expense in the company's main financial records. Treasury handles paying all the taxes. And then our detective, usually an independent accountant or auditor, comes in.
Their job is to look at all the different pieces of the puzzle, the payroll report, the bank statement, the general ledger, and make sure they all tell the exact same story.
And this isn't just, tidying up the paperwork. This final step has a really important name. It's a critical monitoring control. It's the ultimate proof, the final stamp of approval, that every single check and every single balance we've talked about worked just the way it was supposed to.
Okay, so we have made it through the entire gauntlet. Let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. All these steps, all these handoffs, it might feel like a lot of red tape, but it's not about bureaucracy. It's about having dedicated guardians protecting the company's money and protecting your paycheck.
When you boil it all down, it comes down to these three unshakable pillars. You've got human resources, they're the authorizers. You've got the payroll department, they're the recorders. And you've got the treasury department, they're the custodians. Three separate pillars, three distinct jobs, one rock-solid process.
And why does this matter? Because the bad stuff this system is built to prevent is very, very real. We're talking about ghost employees, unauthorized pay raises, friends approving fake overtime for each other, duplicate payments. This whole structure is the frontline defense against all of it.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. My business is tiny. We don't have an HR department and a payroll department and a treasury department. And that's totally fair. For smaller businesses where you can't have that perfect separation, you have to use what are called compensating controls. Things like having the owner personally review and approve every single payroll run. It becomes absolutely essential to get the same peace of mind.
So the next time you get paid and you see that deposit hit your account, you'll know the truth. You'll know about the incredible, high-stakes relay race that your money had to run just to get to you safely. And that leaves us with just one final thought. Is your money on the right side of these controls?